Harlequin Best-Selling Author Collection and HarlequinAudio present Mercenary's Woman by Diana Palmer. Performed by Todd, McLaren. For the Habersham County, Georgia Sheriff's Department and the Habersham County Emergency Medical Service. With thanks. Chapter 1. Ebenezer Scott stood beside his double-wheeled black pickup truck and stared openly at the young woman across the street while she fiddled under the hood of a dented, rusted hulk of a vehicle. Sally Johnson's long blonde hair was in a ponytail. She was wearing jeans and boots and no hat. He smiled to himself, remembering how many times in the old days he'd chided her about sunstroke. It had been 6 years since they'd even spoken. She'd been living in Houston until July, when she and her blind aunt and small cousin had moved back into the decaying old Johnson homestead. He'd seen her several times since her return, but she'd made a point of not speaking to him. He couldn't really blame her. He'd left her with some painful emotional scars. She was slender, but her trim figure still made his heartbeat jump. He knew how she looked under that loose blouse. His eyes narrowed with heat as he recalled the shocked pleasure in her pale gray eyes when he'd touched her, kissed her in those forbidden places. He'd hoped to frighten her so that she'd stop teasing him. But his impulsive attempt to discourage her had succeeded all too well. She'd run from him then, and she'd kept running. She was 23 now, a woman, probably an experienced woman. He mourned for what might have been if she'd been older, and he hadn't just come back from leading a company of men into the worst bloodbath of his career. A professional soldier of fortune was no match for a young and very innocent girl. But then, she hadn't known about his real life, the one behind the facade of cattle ranching. Not many people in this small town did. It was 6 years later. She was all grown up, a schoolteacher here in Jacobsville, Texas. He was retired, they called it. Actually, he was still on the firing line from time to time, but mostly he taught other men in the specialized tactics of covert operations on his ranch. Not that he shared that information. He still had enemies from the old days, and one of them had just been sprung from prison on a technicality. A man out for revenge, and with more than enough money to obtain it. Sally had been almost 18 the spring day he'd sent her running from him. In a life liberally strewn with regrets, she was his biggest one. The whole situation had been impossible, of course, but he'd never meant to hurt her, and the thought of her sat heavily on his conscience. He wondered if she knew why he kept to himself, and never got involved with the locals. His ranch was a model of sophistication, from its state-of-the-art gym to the small herd of purebred Santa Gertrudis breeding cattle he raised. His men were not only loyal, but tight-lipped. Like another Jacobsville, Texas resident, Cy Parks, Ebenezer was a recluse. The two men shared more than a taste for privacy, but that was something they kept to themselves. Meanwhile, Sally Johnson was rapidly losing patience with her vehicle. He watched her push at a strand of hair that had escaped from the long ponytail. She kept a beef steer or two herself. It must be a frugal existence for her, supporting not only herself, but her recently blinded aunt and her 6-year-old cousin as well. He admired her sense of responsibility, even as he felt concern for her situation. She had no idea why her aunt had been blinded in the first place, or that the whole family was in a great deal of danger.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?